Welcome back to Booze and the Rocks. My name's David Edwards, and today we're going to show you the evolution of the Corpse Survivor No. 1 from 1871, 1930, and a modern day interpretation. Let's get into it. Alright, it's great to have everyone here back here today. We are making a Corpse Survivor, but we are going to do the evolution of the Corpse Survivor. But first, before we get started, I would ask that you do me a favor. Could you please share this video to every piece of social media and every one of your friends? I'd like to see if we can really drive this video. The original recipe for this comes to us from 1871, and it comes to us from the Gentleman's Table Guide written out by Rickert and Thomas. Interestingly enough, the measures for this cocktail guide talk about measuring it in wine glasses. Or is it by this wine glass? Kind of hard to say because the original wine glasses were actually much smaller than this. Before 1800, the original wine glass measured out to 1.5 ounces. After 1800, the standard wine glass measure was 2 ounces, unless you were using an imperial fluid ounce, which was 2.5 ounces. For this cocktail, we're going to make this in 2-ounce cocktails. So grab your jigger. Now, this recipe calls for a half wine glass of each of these items. But it also calls for 2 dashes of a Boker's bitter. Now I don't have that, so what I'm going to use is Angostura bitters. The next thing you need is Maraschino Liqueur. And this calls for half a wine glass. Half a wine glass works out to 1 ounce. Yay, slow pour. Oops. And the third thing that you need is, of course, some brandy. And we need half a wine glass of that. That works out to 1 ounce or 30 mils as well. Now here's something really, really interesting. This recipe does not call for stirring or shaking. So you know what? Let's just put this in our glass right now because I'm going to stay true to the original. And there you go, there's the first one. A room temperature cocktail. All right, this next version of the cocktail comes to us from the 1930 Savoy Cocktail Guide. Grab your shaking glass yet again. Grab your jigger as well, and we need 1/4 ounce of a Sweet Vermouth. I'm using Dillon's Sweet Vermouth here, and 1/4 ounce works out to 7.5 mils. Next, we need some Calvados. Calvados is an apple brandy, and I need 1/4 ounce of that as well, and I'm using Boulard Calvados. The third thing that we need is brandy. I'm using the same Saint Remy brandy. This is an XO version, and we need 1/2 ounce of that. Not bad, simple, 3 ingredients. We're going to shake this with ice for a good 10 seconds. Give it a bit of a flip and shake hard. Slap it with the strength of 1,000 corpses. And grab your glass of choice. In this case, I've got just a nice little 2-ounce glass here. And this should be taking any time before 11 o'clock. This final installment of the Corpse Survivor No. 1 comes to us from liquor.com. Now it is a modern interpretation, and we require a mixing glass for this as this is a stirred cocktail. Grab your jigger, and everything is in versions of 1 ounce or so. So we need 1 ounce of Calvados. Now I'm using a Boulard Calvados, and 1 ounce is 30 milliliters. Next we'll need 1 ounce of cognac, and I'm using a Hennessy cognac here, and we're going to use 1 ounce of that. Now you could use a brandy if you wanted, because cognac is brandy, but it just comes from the cognac region of France, and it's under very strict guidelines to make it a cognac. The next thing we need is a half an ounce of sweet vermouth. And a half an ounce works out to 15 mils. Now what we'll do is we will add some ice to this. And now we're going to stir this for 30 seconds. And look at that. Grab your glass of choice. I'm going to use a coupe glass. Your Hawthorne strainer, slam it in there. And that is a Corpse Reviver number 1. So let's take a look at all 3 of these. 3 different looking cocktails, much different looking cocktails, and different sizes. So the first thing I smell is a little bit of the brandy and not much of the maraschino liqueur. It's sweet. It's like a sweet brandy. It's maybe just a little bit too sweet for brandy. Let's try again. Okay, let me rinse my mouth out with my best mom mug ever. Next, we're going to try the Savoy Cocktail version from 1930. Can't really smell much with it. Now the temperature does immediately make a change because it kills some of those flavors. It's good. I get some of the apple from the Calvados, a little bit of the brandy. You know what? That's pretty good. It's not bad at all. It doesn't have a lot of taste, but that just could be me based on the first one. All right, and let's try the Corpse Reviver number 1, the modern equivalent. All right, it's cold again. I taste a little bit more of the vermouth in this one. The Calvados comes through, the cognac is muted a little bit, so it's kind of level. I definitely can smell the Calvados there, and on the second taste, it's not quite for me. This is interesting because these are 3 versions of the cocktail, and I think I like this one the best, but just a sec, let me try this again. I do like the Savoy Cocktail version better. And it could be that it's diluted a little bit more. And then I think this one, Corpse Reviver number 1, and then I think the original 1971 edition. It could be the bitters that are doing this one to me. Yeah. No, you know what? They're not my favorite cocktail. However, the Savoy Cocktail one is my favorite of the 3. Interestingly enough, 1871, 1930 is literally 60 years. And now, 90 years later to a modern version, I'd rather have this one from 1930. Let me know down in the description if you agree with that. Try them out. Please, the feedback would be awesome. You know what? But definitely be safe after you've had this much to drink. And you know what? I will leave the ingredients for each of these and the method of how to make them down in the description down below. And if this is your first time to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification. That way you'll get every single notification that I put up. And if you'd like to help support the channel, please check us out at patreon.com/booze on the rocks, because every little bit helps. And you know what? You have a great Halloween, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Welcome back to Booze on the Rocks. My name's David Edwards. The next one we need is our 1930 guide. And this is from the Savoy Cocktail, and we're gonna use a shaking glass for this. This modern day version of the Corpse Reviver #1 comes to us from liquor.com. So grab your mixing glass. This is a mixed or a stirred, whatever, hit stop.